Welcome to the BRSCC Mazda Super Series. I'm Lyndsay and I'm going to be taking you through this weekend here in the beautiful Cheshire countryside of Oulton Park. After our last weekend at Cadwell Park, we saw Josh Jackson tumble down in the rankings after a huge off, which led the gap wide open for his competitors, including his season rival Jake Bailey. However, Josh has come back this weekend with a fighting spirit and he's put it back on pole for the beginning of race one. So speaking of which, I'm going to hand it over to Andy to run us through the rest of the grid.
Yes, thank you very much, Lyndsay. It's been a fascinating season so far in the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Super Series, and it continues here at Oulton Park with Jackson and Bailey together on the front row once more. Sam Bailey is back on row 2 with Simon Fleet, ahead of Simon Orange and George Grant, then Jeremy Crook and Patrick Collins, the fourth row for this first race of the day. Then it's Jeff Gurrier and James Kell ahead of Matt Pickford and Simon Wood. Pepe Planeta makes his debut ahead of Richard Breland, then Xavier Brook and Russ Lyndsay. Liz Walton and Andy Fagan make up the back row of this 18-car field, the biggest grid that we've had all season long. It's great to see more drivers getting behind this new for 2018 Mazda MX-5 Super Series. No points on offer, remember, for this. It is just a series of races, and Josh Jackson will be a bit disappointed at that, because with his 5 wins and a further visit to the podium as well, he would be the championship leader if we were scoring points. However, Jake Bailey, although he's only scored 3 race wins, has not missed the podium all year. 9 races and 9 podium finishes. Can he continue that here at Oulton Park? The lights go out. Let's find out who at least gets down towards Old Hall Corner in the race lead. It's going to be fairly close, but the white car with the black bumper on the inside line is Josh Jackson, and he will lead them through Old Hall Corner for the first time. Matt Pickford there running side by side with that looked like Pepe Planeta, and a spin, unfortunately for Russ Lyndsay. He is just going to make very light contact with the tyre wall, but should be able to rejoin without too much damage. The rest of the field pile their way down through Cascades for the first time. And there is the midfield battle we were just watching. On board now with Patrick Collins, looking back at the 101 car of Simon Woods. Oh, and contact between Planeta and Pickford, and they're both off onto the grass. Planeta back across the road, bang into the barriers, and that was not the way to make your debut in the series. I don't quite know what started that all off, but there was some sort of contact, and more contact. Now there's another car off going into Shell, and was that Jake Bailey? I think that might have been Jake Bailey off into the barriers, and that would be big drama indeed for one of the pre-race favourites, but that is a fairly sizable shunt. It is. It's Jake Bailey off into the foam barriers, and look at that though, because they're foam, because they're not tyres, he's able to rejoin with minimal damage, but a long way behind the rest of the field, and an awful lot of damage done to the circuit furniture. So Jackson leads the way, Sam Bailey second, Simon Orange is third, Simon Fleet is fourth, and fifth place for Jeremy Crook from 7th on the grid. He's made good progress. Then it's George Grant in 6th, ahead of the 33 car of James Kell, as they descend upon Hislops and Knickerbrook for the first time. But that was a dramatic first half a lap or so of racing. Well, that yellow flag's going to stay out for the foreseeable up at Shell. I don't think the marshals are going to be able to move Josh Jackson's car without a safety car, and rather than throw a safety car, they just keep the yellow flags at one part of the circuit, so the drivers have to slow down, but not excessively. The most important thing is that they don't overtake under the yellow flags, because that is a big no-no, and you'll get yourself in all sorts of bother with the clerk of the course if you start doing things like that. Just in front of those two is this ongoing battle between George Grant, James Kell and Jeff Gurrier. Still no change in the order, but they're very close together. In fact, I'd say they're closer now than they ever have been. And James Kell will be getting increasingly frustrated here, because I think he knows he's a bit quicker than George, just hasn't quite been able to find a way past him. Over Clay Hill they go again. We're getting into the closing stages of this race now as well. Look how much closer Simon Woods has got to Patrick Collins too, so Patrick will possibly have to start watching his mirrors here. Oh, he can't overtake at Druid, surely. No, Simon backed out of that one. Indeed, on to the final lap now goes Josh Jackson, so one more lap of the 2.7 mile Oulton Park International Circuit goes the race leader, and having not finished on the podium since Snetterton, this will be a welcome return not only to the podium but to the top step of the podium, which is where he finished in all 3 races at Snetterton, which is why it was such a shock. He won 5 of the first 6 races of the year, did Josh Jackson. Only Jake Bailey was able to pip him to a race victory in the final race at Brands Hatch, but ever since then he really did look dominant. Then Cadwell Park did not go his way, but with the issues for that man there, Jake Bailey, who he drives past once again, stricken the gravel trap up at Shell, Josh Jackson has been left to his own devices, generally speaking, in this one. Of course, for the next race, they start that one the way in which they finish this. So Jackson will be on pole, and Jake Bailey will have to come through from the back of the grid. That should be very entertaining for us to watch, though. as he tries to sort of pick his way forwards. But it's a long way to go to work your way right to the front of the field, and by the time you get there, this man may well have disappeared up the road, as he did in this one. Josh Jackson's never really been headed once Bailey went off, and he's now less than half a lap away from checkered flag number 6 of the season. Blissful isolation here, getting to enjoy the spectacular Cheshire countryside in glorious conditions today as well. These are the days where you're grateful that you don't have a roof over your head, albeit with the fireproof overalls and the helmet on, it will feel like you do. Josh Jackson comes out of the final corner, he sees the checkered flag, and he wins the first race of the day here at Oulton Park, round number 10 of the Mazda MX-5 Super Series. What's going to go on behind? Looks like the podium positions are fairly set, with Sam Bailey second and Simon Orange third, but this battle between George Grant and James Kell is still going, and George Grant just can't quite... James Kell, sorry, just can't quite get close enough to attack there. Oh, Grant's off! Oh, George Grant, bang, into the tyre wall! What on earth happened then? That was an enormous hit for George, who thankfully is moving around in the car, but how on earth did he manage that? He must have run wide on the exit of the corner, and that just speared the car back across the road. So confirmation of the result then. Josh Jackson wins the race, Sam Bailey second and Simon Orange third, then Jeremy Crook and Simon Fleet from James Kell 6th on the last corner, ahead of Jeff Gurrier 7th, Simon Woods 8th, Patrick Collins 9th, and Russ Lyndsay 10th. Then it's Andy Fagan and Liz Walton. George Grant a dramatic non-finish, so too Jake Bailey. We also lost Javier Brook, Matt Pickford, Pepe Planeta and Richard Breland.
Congratulations on the win on race 1, Josh.
Thank you, yeah, that was really good. I'd like to thank Brisky Racing, PC Cars and everybody for helping me out, Vortex Exhaust as well. It was definitely a tricky race, but we had a bit of battle with Jake. Unfortunately he went off, which was a bit of a shame, but no, it was alright, it was good.
Sam, that's a fantastic result for race 1. I hear this is your best ever finish.
It certainly is, yeah, and I've got all the guys at Blink to thank for getting me there. They've worked tirelessly to get my car where it is, so I owe it to them really.
The drivers here are just heading out for the beginning of race 2 with the Mazda Super Series. We've just had a dramatic downpour of rain, which has led to a change of tyres, change of setup, everything. I believe we're going to have a very eventful race, but Andy, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Lindsay. Well, we never saw this coming this morning. This has been a real summer thunderstorm that has hit the Cheshire countryside, but race 2 still about to get underway. The way in which they finished race 1 is how they start race 2. So Jackson from Bailey from Orange and Crook the top 4, then Simon Fleet and James Kell, and Jeff Gurrier and Simon Woods rounding out the top 8. Then it's Patrick Collins and Russ Lyndsay, Andy Fagan and Liz Walton. And then those that had difficulties in race 1, George Grant and Jake Bailey, 2 to watch for moving forward, ahead of Javier Brook even, and then Matt Pickford and Pepe Planeta, who never even finished lap 1. Well, there's been some good repair jobs done on a few of the cars after the dramas of race 1. We had a dramatic opening lap in the first race, and they were in dry and sunny conditions. It has more or less stopped raining now, but as you can see, the rain has done its damage, and the circuit is extremely wet. Lots of standing water for them to beware of. This could get interesting. The red lights go out. We are away and racing for the second time this weekend, and it's a good start made by Sam Bailey there from the outside of row number 1, and Josh Jackson going backwards. What's gone on there? Josh Jackson must have missed a gear or something. He's down to 4th place as they turn through Old Hall Corner for the first time. There is Russ Lyndsay and Jake Bailey trying to pick his way through as well. On board with Simon Woods, who can see absolutely nothing. Look at that visibility. He's in the middle of the pack, and the spray means that you can barely see your hand in front of your face. Down towards Cascades they go, and let's hope no one skates straight on here. It's easy to do in the wet as the track drops away from you, but it looks like they're all through safely. Back down the Lakeside Straight, Simon Woods has got James Kell in front of him, and I think Russ Lyndsay behind him, from the glimpse that I caught of the blue car in the mirrors. But as the rest of the field stream down towards Island Bend, you can see just how treacherous the conditions are. There's Jake Bailey, the purple and white number 14 car. Try and get through Island Bend safely this time. He twice went off in this part of the circuit in race 1, and he goes right round the outside. Now that is a brilliant example there of where the grip is in the wet. When it's wet, the racing line with all of the rubber laid down on it is not very grippy. The best part of the circuit to run on is the part of the circuit with the least rubber, and that's offline. So you'll see drivers driving around the outsides of the corners and making everyone else look like they're standing still, and that's exactly what it was there. Oh, Simon Fleet, that's a shame. He's had a bad start, hasn't he, because he finished 4th fifth, excuse me, in the previous race, and therefore started fifth for this one, but it's all gone a bit wrong at the start. So leaders turn their way through Hislops and Knickerbrook for the first time. Sam Bailey there ahead of Simon Orange, your top two, with Jackson third and Jeremy Crook in fourth position. Jeff Gurrier seems to be in fifth, but it is Sam Bailey that leads the way. Now, can Sam Bailey take his first win of the year? He had a third place finish back at Snetterton, which has been his best result of the season so far. Can he manage to get himself one, maybe two steps further up the order? Let's wait and see. Down through Druids they go, and in towards Lodge for the first time. You can see the standing water here on the road in the braking zone. Doesn't put Simon Orange off though. He runs straight through the puddles, trying to get the nice wide line through. You can see not bothering getting anywhere near the apex, just trying to find the grip on the outside of the corners, which is exactly what he does. Back up and over Deer's Leap, and it's all fairly close together at the front of the field, but Sam Bailey leads the way. Not necessarily the Bailey that we expected to see challenging for race victories this weekend, but with Jake's issues, it's been Sam that's taken up the reins as the closest challenger to Josh Jackson this weekend. But I'd be interested to know what happened to Josh off the start, because he really slipped back. The initial getaway seemed okay, which is what makes me wonder about maybe a missed gear or something, because he just suddenly, the acceleration seemed to go away and he ended up getting swamped by the pack. Through Old Hall, back into the quick run down the avenue, and Bailey actually closing in this time through the first corner. He'll get even closer as they go into Cascades, and he's really close now. He's right on the tail of Josh Jackson, so there's going to be some defending to do here for Jackson on the final lap, who has not seemed quite as comfortable in these wet conditions as some of the other drivers have. He's just made fewer mistakes than the likes of Sam Bailey and Simon Woods, who have both had opportunities to lead the race. Well, Sam Bailey wants to get the lead back. Up through Island Bend they go, in towards the Shell hairpin. In the wet, it becomes all the more difficult to find a way through. He'll try and take a nice wide line through here. Actually, no, Jackson goes up the hill a bit wider. Bailey, you see that the track is almost dry now as they go through the corner. There's only a hint of moisture being kicked up by the tyres. Britain's next, and then try and get a good exit from here maybe. Have a go down in towards Hislops. That's probably the next opportunity for Sam Bailey to get through, but he doesn't get a good exit. Gets a bit sideways on the exit of the right-hand corner of the chicane. Hurt his speed up the hill. He's not close enough to attack into Hislops, so really the last opportunity to find a way through is going to be into Lodge Corner. So like so many races over the years here at Oulton Park, this one is going to go right down to the wire. You get lots of close racing at Oulton Park, it's just not that easy to pass, so that's probably why you get so much close racing, because even if you're a bit slower than the cars behind, it's relatively easy to defend the position. Not that I'm saying Jackson is significantly slower than Sam Bailey, but Sam at this stage of the race seems to have a bit of pace advantage. 2 more corners to go. Druids the first, the leaves on the track there, an added challenge, an added obstacle for them to negotiate, and it's a good run out of there for Sam Bailey, so I think Jackson might just have to defend down towards Lodge for the final time. Yes, he does. He's taking no risks, hugs the inside of the road. Sam Bailey holds the middle ground. Oh, Jackson runs out wide though. Jackson runs out wide. He missed his braking point there. Oh, but Bailey loses traction on the exit of the corner, and that will mean that Jackson's able to hang on, but it was a real close run thing there. Checkered flag once again for the 7th time this year goes to Josh Jackson. Sam Bailey gets his first podium finish of 2018, sorry, second podium finish of the season, I beg your pardon. And coming home in 3rd place will be Jeremy Crook, and that is his first podium of the season. But that was a really entertaining race. You can always guarantee that the weather, when it rains, it will spice things up nicely. Jackson from Bailey from Crook, your top 3. Then it's Jeff Gurrier 4th, and James Kell with a season best 5th, ahead of Patrick Collins, Simon Orange, Simon Woods, Simon Fleet, and Javier Brook. Then it's Matt Pickford, Andy Fagan, and Liz Walton. We lost from that one Russ Lyndsay, Jake Bailey, George Grant, and Pepe Planeta.
Josh, you're starting to get a name as the comeback kid here.
Yeah, no, we had a bad cab well, but we've made some changes, and yeah, it seems to be going well now, so it's all right.
So race 2, that was a fabulous finish. How did you get on after that rain?
Yeah, no, it was definitely tricky. I got a rubbish start, really. Ended up 4th or something. But it was all about staying on, really, so we kept it on the black stuff. And
Sam started P2, finished P2. Are you happy with that?
Yes, I led the race though for a while. Had an absolute corking start, and I should have won really, but I outbraked myself into shallow oils bends. Went round the gravel instead of the tarmac, so that slowed me up. But luckily, one incident and another, I managed to get myself back up to P2. So pleased with that. Another lap, and I might have even had him.
Jeremy, this is a fantastic result for you, and I couldn't be more pleased. This is the best one ever, I believe.
It is. It's my best result ever in racing, and I can't quite believe it. It's good, yeah. Yes, it's. We've had a great day. We got a 4th place in race 1 this afternoon, and we just. I didn't think we'd do any better than that, but we have done. And I've got to say a huge big thanks to firstly the guys at Paul Sheard Racing who've helped me get here, and also my sponsor, which is the George at Spaldwick, which is the best pub in the world.
We're here for the final time in the assembly area for the BRSCC Mazda Super Series. We've got Josh Jackson on P1, 2 out of 2. Can you make it 3 out of 3? We'll hand it over to Andy to find out.
Thank you, Lyndsay. Yes, the 3rd and final race of the day about to get underway then. And again, they start this one the way in which they finished race 2. So Josh Jackson and Sam Bailey row 1, ahead of Jeremy Crook and Jeff Gurrier. Then James Kell and Patrick Collins, with Simon Orange and Simon Woods even on the 4th row of the grid. Row 5 for Simon Fleet and Xavier Brook. Row 6, Matt Pickford and Andy Fagan. Row 7, Liz Walton and Russ Lyndsay, with Jake Bailey at the back of the grid after 2 non-finishes so far today. He was even given a 10-second penalty for starting out of position in race 2 to compound his misery, although he never got to the end of the race for that to be applied, so he'll be looking to try and work his way through in what are now bone-dry conditions again, albeit slightly more overcast than we had first thing this morning. The lights go out, and for the final time this weekend we are away and racing, and look at the start from Jeremy Crook from the 2nd row of the grid, goes between both of the front row men, gets towards Old Hall Corner, almost in the lead, but Josh Jackson just about comes through to snatch the position back. Oh, contact there. That was Patrick Collins, wasn't it? We've got Simon Fleet bouncing on the grass as well. It's all kicked off again at the start of race 3. We've had some lively first laps today at Oulton Park, and this is turning into another one already. On board with Matt Pickford briefly. There is Jake Bailey scything his way through the field. Look at all the cars he's already overtaken as he works his way ever closer towards the front of the pack. On board with Patrick Collins, who survived that contact coming out of Old Hall Corner. Patrick started 6th and was about 3rd going into the first turn, and he ended up getting involved in some contact and falling back down the order slightly. So on the brakes in towards Ireland, the sun starts to glint out from behind the dark clouds, and we are looking forward even to an entertaining end to the day's racing here. This will be a shortened race, however, only 10 minutes in duration, this one, because of some various dramas throughout the day here at Oulton Park and a strict 6:30 curfew, meaning that this race will have to be time certain. Well, they're all time certain, they're all 20-minute races, but this one will have to be shortened to just the 10 minutes, so half race distance essentially. And it is Josh Jackson leading from Jeremy Crook, the fast starter, in 2nd. Sam Bailey is 3rd, then Patrick Collins still 4th, ahead of Simon Orange 5th and Jeff Gurrier in 6th position. There is Matt Pickford battling away with George Grant. It's good to see that George Grant's got that car fixed up and back out there after his hefty race 1 wallop into the tyre wall on the very final corner when he was defending a position. He's now attacking Matt Pickford, trying to gain a place back as they go over Clay Hill. He gets himself to the right-hand side of the road, which is the outside for the left-hand kinks, but the inside line, for Druids, and Matt Pickford climbs over the curb and gives the place back. There's Jake Bailey, though, in behind James Kell now, so he's already approaching upon the top half dozen or so in this race. On board with Patrick Collins, and Simon Orange goes up the inside of us. Nice move there into Lodge. Through goes Simon Orange. Collins will try and fight back on the exit, though, and Orange runs a bit wide onto the dirt, so Collins will get back in the slipstream underneath the bridge down towards Old Hall Corner. Look at the slipstream taking effect there, but Orange defends the inside line. 2nd place is side by side as well, briefly there between Crook and Bailey. No change there, no change for 4th either. James Keller, Jake Bailey, though. Bailey goes right around the outside. Fantastic move there through Old Hall Corner. And Jake is absolutely determined to make up for the disaster that was races 1 and 2. Contact again there for Patrick Collins, who won't have a straight panel left on that treble 9 car at the end of this race. Simon Orange barging his way through. Jeff Gurrier now trying to pick his way past as well as they go down the Lakeside Straight for the 2nd time. So a breathless start to race number 3 here then at Oulton Park. And Patrick Collins we're on board with, but look at the way that Jake Bailey has caught these two really quickly now. Jake, if he gets on with this, a podium is on the cards for Jake Bailey, and he could really do with a good podium finish to round out his weekend. Makes his way out of Cascades, just under 1 lap remains for him. to round off what has been a perfect weekend, or a near perfect weekend. He started from pole. He's going to win all 3 races. It would look like he set the fastest lap in 2 out of the 3 races. Interestingly, in the wet race too, it was Patrick Collins who set the fastest lap. So Patrick showing some good pace in the wet. And he was over a second quicker, in fact, than Josh Jackson's quickest lap, which really does just go to document that Josh was not ultra comfortable in wet conditions in race 2. Going over the curves, the car looks finely poised though, doesn't it? Really handling well for Josh Jackson. And of course, the cars are all identical. They're all producing a near identical level of horsepower. There's no real straight line speed advantage. You can't tweak any aerodynamic bits on the cars to make them go quicker, because there are no aerodynamic bits on the cars. So it's all about getting the car set up through the corners and driving it well through the corners, of course. That's where you find your lap time, and that's why Josh Jackson's been able to score what looks like being a fairly comfortable hat-trick of race victories here today. Sam Bailey's going to get himself another podium though. Jeremy Crook, as I've said, another 3rd place. The biggest remaining question is who's going to finish 4th, because I did spot in the background of that previous shot that Jake Bailey had caught Simon Orange, but is he going to be able to find a way through? Out of Druids, down towards Lodge they come for the final time, out of Lodge they come for the final time, and Josh Jackson takes the checkered flag for the 2nd time this weekend. He does the triple, 3 wins from 3. Sam Bailey 2nd, Jeremy Crook 3rd, and it will be Simon Orange 4th. So Jake Bailey, at best, well, an only finish of the day, a 5th place. That's not really what he had in mind as he made the journey up here to Oulton Park this weekend. It's not quite gone to plan, but he'll be back out next time, I'm sure, to try and improve upon things in the 2nd half of the season. So Josh Jackson wins the final race of the day. Sam Bailey 2nd and Jeremy Crook 3rd. Then it's Simon Orange and Jake Bailey, Patrick Collins and Jeff Gurrier, James Kell and George Grant ahead of Simon Woods in 10th. Then it's Xavier Brooks, Simon Fleet, Russ Lyndsay, Matt Pickford, Andy Fagan and Liz Walton. But it's Josh Jackson very much in the ascendancy as we reach halfway through the season.
Well done, Josh. What a race for you.
Yeah, no, it was a good race. A lot easier in the dry than it was in the wet. Jeremy got a great start, coming between me and Sam. But yeah, we kept him in front, and yeah, got the 3. It was good.
Nice. So are you going to come back and join us at Silverstone?
Yeah, we'll be back for Silverstone, so yeah, we'll just keep on going.
Brilliant. Well, we'll see you then. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Surely this is a way to go and enjoy now your free time.
Absolutely, yeah. Really looking forward to it, and well done to Jeremy. Gave me a really good start there, so yeah, great race. Thank you.
Brilliant. So you're going to come back and join us at Silverstone?
Definitely, yeah. Might even be Rockingham as well.
Jeremy, that was one hell of a race and a great start.
It was fab, wasn't it? I don't quite know what happened, but we got straight off the line in between numbers 1 and 2. So it was really good. Fab race, and 2 3rd places in one meeting. They're a bit like London buses. You wait for ages and they all come at once. So there you go. Fantastic day.
So one to definitely remember.
Absolutely right. This will go down in history for me. Well done.
Oh, well, a huge congratulations. We'll see you at Silverstone.
Thank you, Lynn.